Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the update 1.83 dev server and we're going to have a look at the new Navy vehicles coming to the game. Now we're not going to look at the Royal Navy in this video, that will have its own dedicated video. This will be looking at the new vehicles that are in the US, the German and the Soviet tech trees, which are the three tech trees that are coming to OBT in update 1.83. So these are the machines that you'll be able to get your hands on even if you don't have access to the Naval CBT. So, we start off with some premiums. We first off have the 58-footer PT3. This will set you back 250 GE, and it is the starter vehicle for the Americans. As you can see, it's right here in the tree, and it's very similar to, well, all of the other first tier PT boats you have. You have two 12.7 millimeters on the top in the form of here, and then you have two torpedoes in the back, which are very golden on this model, which is kind of cool. It also has a decent amount of speed behind it, 63 kilometers an hour, no armor protection, and a crew of 12. So survivability isn't the best, but the main thing you want out of this machine, it's quite small, it's quite nippy, you want to get those torpedoes off at a decent rate and be able to try and maybe do something with the 12.7s. That's basically the reason to use this. It's a good starter vehicle. It also has access to depth charges, which is a nice little addition to it as well, as you can see in the rack back here. So overall, pretty cool. The next one is the Elco 80-footer. This is a rank 2 battle rating 3.0 vehicle, and it sits itself at 1600 GE. So this is very similar to me. Once I looked at it, it looks to me very similar to this one here, which is the Elco 80-footer PT565. This is the 556, and what you get is a 37mm A&M4, a 20mm Oerlikon times 4, and then also the 20mm Oerlikon and the dual 12.7 millimeters, two sets of them. So having a look at the X-ray, you can see there's a 37mm on the front, you have the 20mm up here, then you have the 4 torpedoes on the side. So once again, it's really nice having a lot of weaponry and also torpedoes. You have the 12.7s, and then you have this monstrosity on the back. So this monstrosity is just a blast shield, what looks like a blast shield, which has 4 20mm sticking out of it. As you can see, it says Thunderbolt on the back because this is the Thunderbolt boat, and the actual armor on this is mainly for these 20mm. So somebody has just stuck 4 20mm through the back of this sheet, and then the gunner sits in the back. I actually want to show you this thing in a test sail because it looks kind of hilarious. Obviously, you can pick which modifications you want when it comes to which belts you want to use. So the main thing is that you control as a primary the 20mm at the back, and if you can see the little lad just sitting there in the back, which is really cool. At the same time, you also control the 20mm at the front, so your primaries are the 20mm, 37 I believe is the secondary, and then the 12.7s are the tertiary. So we just throw some torpedoes off. The torpedoes themselves are very useful. They're very similar to the other torpedoes that you have from other machines. Let's just throw and drop them off the side. But yeah, this 20mm quad at the back, which looks like it was put together with a bit of gaffer tape, seems like it's going to be incredibly fun to use, and gives this thing, holy hell, give this thing some really cool differences compared to its normal tree counterpart. So I'm really looking forward to testing this thing out. As you can see, 75 kilometers an hour seems to be a decent speed that it sits at, with the 37 and the 20s firing everywhere, and the 50 cals and also the torpedoes. It's everything you want in a PT boat. The only issue might be is that it may be a little bit too heavy with the amount of guns that it has on the back of it, but at least it will mean that you can be able to be useful against a lot of the gunboats. The 20s just absolutely annihilate anything that is smaller than it or the same size of it. So if you are in another PT boat, watch out for this machine, I think is the best way of putting it. So yeah, it's 1600 GE in the tech tree. And the next one we're going to be having a look at isn't a premium, it's a new destroyer for the Americans. This is the Sumner. the DD692, and as you can see, it looks very, very modern. It has 3 127mm dual-purpose guns in a dual system, so you can actually see them here, and of course, there should be one at the back here. It also has 2 sets of 40mm Mark I Brownings dual, and also a turret times 2 of 40mm Bofors. So it has 2 sets of quad 40mm Bofors, and 2 sets of dual 40mm. It also has 10 20mm Oerlikons. Good luck planes getting anywhere near this. Also, look at these Bofors. They're absolutely massive. These are Mark 7 Bofors. They have 2,000 rounds of ammunition. They're going to deal a lot of damage, especially if they're staring at the air and you are in the air. You also have the 40mm here in the dual mount, as I said before, and then you have the torpedo tubes. The torpedo tubes, it has access to 533mm steam turbined Mark 15 torpedoes. There's 10 of them in sets of 5, one here, and then one slightly at the back here as well. And then it also has access to some depth charges, which you can see back here on the end, and they actually fire off at an angle of about 45 degrees. So this thing is kitted out to the brim. You know, it has 627mm, a bunch of Bofors on it. This thing's going to tear up anything that comes near it when it comes to any type of aircraft. So basically, you're going to have to be able to annihilate it on the ground. It also starts off with HE and has the ability to unlock some APHE BC, and then also some HEVT, the High Explosive Variable Time Fuse Shell. So that's really nice to see. A lot of options here for the main guns of the 127s. The main thing is, though, it starts off with the HE, which isn't the best, but once you get that APHE, you should be fine. The 40mm guns, of course, you have the AP clips and the HE clips, and the 20mm, unfortunately, you only have access to the default belts. But yeah, for me, AP on the 40s is very good. Good against ships and also good against aircraft. With the amount of fire that you're putting into the air, I don't think you should worry too much about anything else. And then, of course, the bomb mortar. The bomb mortar is the thing that flings off these Mark 6 mortar depth charges to the sides. And I'll show you that in the video when we actually just look up the Sumner by itself. The next set of vehicles to have a look at are 3 for the Germans. So we start off with the LS-4. This may look very familiar to you because it's very similar to the LS-3, which is the reserve vehicle for the Germans. This is the starter vehicle for the German fleet. It's 250 GE once again. And what you get is pretty much exactly the same as the LS-3. You get 2 torpedoes, you get a 20mm turret machine gun, you get a crew of only 7, so its survivability isn't the best. When it comes to its modifications, nothing really to write home about. And the main thing you get out of this is it's a speedy machine, which is designed to launch torpedoes and generally trade 1 for 1. The next vehicle is a hell of a lot bigger, and it's the Type M 1943, which you can find right here. This is actually a premium rank 2 battle rating 3.3 machine. It has 2 105mm on it. It also has 2 37mm flak Lafette guns. If you want to have a look at what these are, it's these guns here with the quite large blast shield on it. And then you also have 2 Flak 38 dual guns, which are found in the form of this. For some reason, this is seen as the guns are up here. The 20mm Flak 38s are up here, shoulder mounted, and then you have the quad 20mm back here. So we're looking at 6 20mm for AA cover, 2 37mm for dual purpose reasons, and then 2 105s. So we also have 2 torpedoes, which are actually kind of in an interesting spread. They're on an angle actually going straight. So a lot of these larger ships, what you see is a row of torpedoes in the center, which either can go right or left, and they have to turn in order to shoot them. This one, you just have 2 torpedo tubes. They either fire at an angle, and you have to set up the ship to be able to shoot that way. Overall, this ship is actually modeled really nicely. It's also got some armor on it, which, compared to all the other vehicles that we've seen, is very nice. Actually, I should just look at the armor profile of the Sumner, because as you can see, it does have 90mm on the area of the hull. It also has 6.35 on the turrets, but anyway, going back to the Type M1943, it's got this rolled homogeneous armor, 10mm in the middle. This is what actually protects the engines, and then you have various bits of armors for the guns all around, but it's not too much. And then a little bit on the cabin. 107 crew, so quite a large crew. As I said, it's a premium. You will find it at rank 2 in the tree, which is kind of surprising, but overall at 3.3, it should see a lot of destroyers. It should actually be quite competitive for something that isn't technically a destroyer. The next ship that we have to look at is the Type 1934A. This will set you back 61,000 research. You will find it in the tree right here, so it joins the line of rank 3 destroyers. And what you get out of it is 5 turrets of 128mm, so 12.7cm guns. You have 2 dual sets of 37mm, 6 20mm, and of course the racks of torpedoes that I was talking about before. It has 8 of them, so it actually has sets of 4 instead of 5, which to me seems to be the standard. Armor-wise, all you have, once again, is 8mm of thickness on the 128mm, nothing else. An X-ray, as you can see, it's an incredibly complicated ship, and I just want to say it is amazing what the designers of these ships have been able to do at Gaijin. Very, very, very impressive. 56 kilometers an hour, so it's quite quick. And then when it comes to its stock round, once again starting with HE, but it does get access to an APC-BC and an improved HE with a base fuse. The 37mm also get access to an APC-BC, so they should be able to penetrate stuff as they go. Then you also have the 20mm gun to do some damage. Also gets a bomb mortar. Seems to be something that a lot of these machines are coming kind of standard with, which is nice to see. But yeah, you get a lot of torpedoes, you get a lot of large guns. Overall, seems like a fantastic ship. The next set of ships are for the Soviets. They actually get 4 of them. So everybody else gets 3 of them. The Royal Navy comes out, and the Soviets get 4. So this is the G5 Shevak. This is a copy of the G5 that you get in the standard tech tree, apart from the G5 Shevak has a Shevak on it. What a surprise. So yeah, the normal tech tree one has a D-Shack. The one in the premium line, which costs you 250 GE, actually has itself a Shevak, which is the gun on the top right here. You can see the ammo, 754. You can see the torpedoes. The main thing that the G5 has is that it's incredibly fast. It's one of the funnest vehicles at rank 1 to play just because of the raw speed and maneuverability that it has, but its survivability is incredibly bad. The next ship that we're having a look at is the PR123KA-11. This also is a rank 1 premium which has been added to the game. It is right here, and you may actually be really familiar with this name because we have something which should be incredibly similar somewhere. Yeah, we have the PR123 BIS and the PR123K Komsomolets. So you want to know what's different between the rest of them and this? Well, guess what? This has a hydrofoil, and as you can see, it's on the X-ray down here. Everything else is pretty much very similar. It has 2 14.5mm KPV guns. It also has access to some other weapons such as torpedoes, and I actually just want to make sure that I get all of these secondary armaments just to show you a quick look at this, because I think as a rank 1 premium this would be a nice one to pick up. It'll get you used to being able to use stuff like hydrofoils and the advantages and disadvantages of them without having to go through crazy research. Just as a little point while we are here and showing you this, because I want to show you the hydrofoil front. Look at that, isn't that wonderful? The ships in general seem to have really gone down in price when it comes to research. Like, there are some destroyers which are only around 20,000 RP. So this should make it a lot easier for the majority of people to be able to get into ships in a big way. And I'm very, very happy that that is the case. But yeah, this is the PR123K. It's going to put you back 1,000 GE at the end of the day. If you want to look at how the torpedoes look, there you go. They flip out. And as I said, the main thing about this, the hydrofoil at the front, which definitely gives you some style points when it comes to how you look in the game. The next vehicle we are going to look at is the MBK PR-186 MK85. This is another barge with some T-34 turrets on it. This mainly has some 85 T-34 turrets on it. It also has a wonderful camouflage to it. As you can see, it's green, grey, and a red. The cost of this ship is 3,850 GE. Battle rating 3.3, rank 2. You will see it here in the tree, and as you can see, it has exactly the same kind of colours as the MBK PR-186. The main difference between these two is the 85mm are the same, the 37 is the same, the T-shacks are the same, so it's very actually hard to find the difference between them. I'm sure there is one, otherwise, it wouldn't be exactly the same. So with that said, what you're getting is another one of these Soviet barges with a lot of guns on it. Here are the 12.7s in the middle, then you have the 37 back here, then you have the 85s. They're going to be able to put out a lot of firepower, but it doesn't have any extra bells and whistles on it. So you're basically paying for quite a slow machine, which has a lot of firepower on it. Not a ton of crew at only 42, but should be able to put a lot of holes in a lot of ships. It also gets access to the BR-365A round with 142mm of penetration, but I feel like the HE round may be slightly better in some circumstances, so taking both of them definitely makes a lot of sense. The other ship that the Soviets get access to is the PR-191. Now, the PR-191 will set you back 18,000 RP, so not a ton, and it's here in the tech tree at battle rating 2.3, rank 2. And what you get out of this is another 85mm turrets. The Soviets love putting these on their ships. And then you have some 12.7mm in the forms of 2 turrets here. The armor of this machine, you have a decent amount, at least compared to a lot of other machines, 7mm, 30mm, and 14. Only a crew of 14, though, on this machine, so it should be quite easy to take out. And if you are struggling to kill the crew, which are all on the bridge, you can just detonate the ammunition stowage, since a lot of this is just made of ammunition. If we actually look at the PR-123, it has no armor protection, and the MBK-186, it has a lot of different parts of it which have different armor. So you have the 30 in the center, 12 on the front, 8 on the back. You have the 30mm turrets, you have the turret ring of 55, you have the bridge of 20, then the 12.7s of 10, the flak as 10, and then once again 30 and 55. So quite confusing on the armor part of it, but for the PR-191, it's very simple. It's quite a slow machine, has a nice turret on it in the form of the 85. Obviously, with that 85 turret means that you get access once again to the BR-365A round, but no secondary armaments. It doesn't have a lot of crew, so survivability won't be great, but it will pack a hell of a punch. We looked at all of the new vehicles that are coming to the naval forces which aren't British in update 1.83 in this video. The majority of them are premium, and I can understand if a few people are annoyed at this, but just understand all of these nations are coming into OBT, so you've got to add in some premiums to get people going through them, and being able to research everything, and also you need to put in the first tier 250 GE premiums. So if you take off the 3 premiums, it's not actually a lot of premiums at the end of the day. And as I said, they've knocked a lot of the RP costs of a lot of these vehicles. Look at this, the Subchaser is only 26,000 RP. The Franz is only 50. The Project 7U only 61,000. This is a lot lower than what we were seeing the first time. The only ones which are still crazy expensive are some of the Hydrofoils. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.